Modern business culture prioritizes velocity above everything else. The doctrine dictates rapid scaling, aggressive disruption, and the mandate to move fast and break things. That aggressive speed can certainly generate initial momentum, but momentum is not architecture. Optimizing strictly for speed rarely produces organizations that are structurally sound enough to survive long-term market friction. Roughly 2,300 years ago, an Indian scholar and strategist named Chanakya built a framework to solve this exact problem. His observations form a highly structured behavioral algorithm designed to build durable leadership. By studying individuals who consistently compounded their success over decades, he isolated exactly 7 distinct traits they all shared. These traits are often mistaken for simple moral parables. They are objective data points, strict operational requirements for institutional survival. Today, we are translating this ancient algorithm into a modern framework for professional team management. This translation builds the ideal executive from the inside out, beginning with internal psychological regulation and moving outward to external execution. Mastering organizational leadership requires discarding the illusion of overnight success in favor of this proven, centuries-old operational protocol. The protocol begins with internal regulation, starting with the baseline trait of diarrhea, or patience. Chanakya's framework illustrates this through a paradox. A young man asks a successful merchant how to build wealth, setting his own timeline at 2 years. The merchant calculates the required effort and replies that it will take 10. Plotting desired speed of success against actual execution time reveals a paradox. Compressing a 10-year timeline to 1 spikes the required time to 20. Adding an error rate trend line explains this distortion. Impatience increases flawed decisions, delaying the objective. This is temporal arbitrage. Modern executives often panic to hit quarterly earnings, destroying future value to artificially inflate current numbers. True executive patience prevents this self-sabotage, acting as a highly effective competitive moat. Executive patience serves as a calculated operational strategy, allowing a leader to outlast volatile competitors who burn through resources in pursuit of unearned speed. The second internal trait is Atma Niyantran, or self-control. This functions as the core mechanism for overriding destructive cognitive biases. Chanakya points to the concept of the king's ring, an engraving given to an impulsive ruler that simply read, "This too shall pass." It was engineered to anchor the mind during moments of extreme crisis or provocation. This represents emotional resource management. It is the ability to quarantine anger, ego, or panic before those impulses dictate organizational policy. A leader's inability to control their own emotional state fractures trust within a team. An unmanaged temper severs professional relationships and rapidly burns through built-up organizational capital. Commanding a team remains structurally unattainable as long as a leader's own reactions are unpredictable and reactive. Once internal regulation is established, the protocol shifts to cognitive adaptability, beginning with dordrishti, or vision. The classic observation of an ant storing food while the grasshopper sings is a case study in resource allocation against predictable future shocks. Ordinary management merely reacts to present metrics, optimizing for today's convenience. Executive leadership actively allocates capital and labor for economic realities a decade away. This creates structural survivability. It requires the deliberate sacrifice of minor, short-term vanity metrics to ensure the organization has the reserves to survive future market winters. True vision is accepting the friction of turning today's burdens specifically to guarantee tomorrow's operational existence.
Vision requires continuous, accurate data, bringing us to the intertwined traits of hunger for knowledge and humility, the primary antidotes to executive stagnation. The barrier to learning is illustrated by the empty cup metaphor. A master pours tea for a student who claims to know everything, letting the water overflow, proving a full cup cannot receive anything new. This illustrates the capability plateau. It is the exact moment a leader believes they have mastered their domain, effectively blocking all new incoming data from entering their system. Humility operates as a continuous diagnostic tool to keep that cup empty. It forces leaders to seek out new methodologies rather than relying on outdated assumptions. Consider the scholar who mocks a child on a boat for knowing nothing of science or mathematics, only to realize as the boat begins to sink that he himself never learned how to swim. When a manager operates with hierarchical intellectual arrogance, they ignore critical, localized knowledge from junior team members, resulting in catastrophic blind spots. A highly functional leader bypasses this by treating every team member as a vital sensor node, gathering unvarnished information from the ground up. A leader's survival depends entirely on recognizing that their current knowledge base is always insufficient for tomorrow's problems. The final phase moves to external execution and trust metrics, starting with kator parashram, or hard work. A sculptor strikes a stone 200 times with no visible effect, only for the 201st blow to cleanly split the block in two. This is a demonstration of compound kinetic energy. The scientific reality is that the final blow did not break the stone alone. It merely released the microscopic structural stress stored by the previous 200 invisible strikes. Applied to team dynamics, this shatters the myth of overnight success. Sudden leaps in market dominance ignore the years of unglamorous, foundational labor required to weaken the resistance. Modern teams frequently abandon a strategy at the 199th strike simply because there is a lack of immediate, visible feedback. An elite leader maintains the discipline of the operation, forcing the team to continue striking the stone even when the daily metrics temporarily show zero progress. A sudden organizational breakthrough is the inevitable release of the cumulative energy stored during months or years of unglamorous daily output. The execution phase relies entirely on the final, non-negotiable trait, satyanishta, or absolute integrity. This principle is anchored by the historical account of a woodcutter who loses his tool in a river. Offered a gold or silver replacement by a deity testing his honesty, he refuses both, demanding only his own iron axe. Individual honesty translates to organizational efficiency. When honesty is the baseline, the verification tax, the time and capital wasted on auditing and micromanaging every decision, drops, allowing the organization to scale without bureaucratic friction. Manipulating essential data, breaking core promises, or operating on deceit constructs the highly fragile, unstable organizational architecture. Operational integrity provides the load-bearing architecture required for an enterprise to expand. Without it, the system collapses under the weight of its own internal inconsistencies. The 7 traits fail in isolation, functioning instead as an interlocking operating system. Vision is a hallucination without patience and self-control. Hard work is misdirected without humility and a hunger to learn. Without integrity binding the nodes, the structure shatters.
The Chanakya Protocol redefines leadership as a rigorous, internally regulated system where internal mastery dictates external outcome. Before a leader attempts to disrupt an industry, scale a team, or change the external world, they must first completely master themselves.